Hello, my name is Neil Wengard. I am on the board of the Columbus chapter of Conscious Capitalism. I'm on the marketing committee, and we are telling stories of businesses and leaders who have put conscious capitalism into practice to make it a little more practical and see how people have implemented it in their daily lives and businesses. I am super excited to be with Christine Cully of Highlights Magazine. Chris, glad to have you.
Thank you for inviting me.
I think everybody is familiar with highlights at this point, from childhoods at the dentist office and seeing it there to having kids of their own and having them in their house. I know we are subscribers, but for those of us who might not be as familiar, maybe give us just a little bit of the high points of highlights.
Sure. Well, we are a company with a very compelling story of origin. We were started in 1946 by two passionate, lifelong educators, Dr. Gary Cleveland Myers, who also held a PhD in psychology, and his wife, Caroline Clark Myers. And they had some very forward-thinking ideas about what kids need to learn to grow to become thoughtful, literate citizens of the world. They'd already been working on some early women's and children's periodicals, so the best way they knew to disseminate their ideas was through a children's magazine. So they took their values and their beliefs and they created a foundation for the children's magazine they created together, Highlights, which has been called today a cultural icon, reaching millions and millions of readers over the years. The Myers' beliefs about kids and how they best learn and grow have served as surprisingly strong anchors for the work we do today as an international multimedia children's content company, offering a wide variety of products and experiences for kids.
That's awesome. I didn't know quite the history of it, and it's super interesting to hear that as far as the science and the psychology that's gone into it. So I know that you and the Highlights team have thought seriously about conscious capitalism and the aspects of that. And I know one of the big elements for you has been higher purpose. But why don't we start with when you made the realization that that idea could have an impact on the business? What was going on at the time, and what made you think about purpose in a different way?
The Myerses were interested in profit primarily so they could achieve their mission, which was to help kids grow to become their best selves. They didn't see themselves so much as a magazine publisher as they did a company with a philosophy or a higher purpose, which was disseminating that philosophy. And that's how we see ourselves today. And this idea was widely known and understood in our editorial or product development offices. There, the values and the beliefs of the Myers were kept alive within the organization for decades, due in no small part to the owning family's commitment to perpetuating the philosophy, and due also to a continuity in editorial leadership. I'm only the third editor-in-chief in the company's 77-year history. And also, editorial can't really do its work without keeping top of mind purpose and mission. And ours is to help kids become their best selves, curious, creative, caring, and confident by creating content and experiences that engage, delight, and foster joyful learning. And that's at the heart of everything we do. It's the underpinning of all the products and experiences we create for kids. But our editorial offices are based in Northeast Pennsylvania. That's where the founders lived and worked. We have offices there and a retreat center. And it's 500 miles from our business offices in Columbus, Ohio. Our department had become a little insular. And as the company evolved and the need for more cross-departmental collaboration grew, it became obvious that we needed to spread and deepen our understanding of our purpose to employees throughout the organization. And as we added new editorial staff, both through growth and attrition, it was clear that we also needed to be more intentional about talking with an editorial about why Highlights exists.
Yeah, that challenge of having teams 500 miles apart is something we've all started to figure out how to tackle that challenge over the past couple of years. But
Absolutely.
how do you keep those teams aligned on that purpose when you have the business team, I'm sure, with marketing and sales goals, and an editorial team with more writing and creative goals? How do you keep them aligned on that purpose when, number one, they're not together, and number two, they have maybe competing interests in some ways?
Yes. Well, it's not that our marketers and accountants and folks in HR and other support services weren't interested in learning more about our purpose. They were and they are. From time to time, Columbus-based employees would visit our Pennsylvania Retreat Center for collaboration, and in the process, learn a little bit more about our history and our purpose. And we get feedback from them, and they tell us how great it was and how it reminded them of why they were proud to work at Highlights. It reminded them of what drew them to Highlights in the first place, even though their day-to-day work didn't require keeping purpose top of mind as it did for product development folks. And all this feedback just made us realize how much better our collaboration could be, how much better our organization could be, how fulfilled all employees would be at work if we could put purpose at the center of everything we do, if it deepened an understanding and appreciation for our reason for existing among all employees. So that's what we set out to do. And we did some things to just make all those things happen.
Yeah, what are some of those strategies for keeping those feedback loops going and sharing that with the team?
We became much more deliberate about talking about purpose and how it connects to everybody's work at some level. We made more effort to demonstrate our commitment to our purpose externally in ways that everybody could participate in. So we started making more in-kind donations to nonprofits that employees were involved in that supported kids. We started participating more in community events that were focused on children. And although we feel strongly that understanding and perpetuating our purpose is a part of everybody's job, we created a purpose and impact team to facilitate that thinking. I took on the title of Chief Purpose Officer, and I work closely with the Senior Director of Purpose and Impact. And then together, we've created some workshops for employees that engage them in conversation about our values and our beliefs about kids. We focus on facilitating more internal communication that helps employees see the impact we're having. We more readily share positive communications from customers and letters from kids. Often we start our all-company chats, which are usually virtual, with a review of something from our corporate vision statement. Even our finance department starts its departmental meetings by reading a few letters from kids and our replies to them. We answer every letter we receive from children. And our Purpose and Impact team is a resource to those who are crafting marketing messages and social media posts and who want their messages to help customers, parents, grandparents, and teachers, everybody who cares about kids, to better understand our purpose. We also have been more intentional about onboarding executives and new external partners to ensure that they understand what's really important to us.
Yeah, that was something that I was going to ask as far as everybody that is on the highlights team there's a very strong structure for keeping them aligned with purpose and hearing feedback from students and parents and children. How do you bring new people onto the team and get them up to speed and make sure that they are aligned and moving the same direction as everyone else?
Well, we created a couple documents that are fluid. We're always reviewing them, updating them, iterating on them. One is what we call our guiding editorial principles. And when a new executive joins the team or when a new leader joins the team, we schedule a meeting and we review that document and discuss that document so that they really understand all the thinking that goes behind the decisions we make when we create products and experiences for kids. And that's really been a huge help in helping newbies understand why we do what we do.
Yeah, that documentation is so great. And I'm sure that can be a living document too. And you can add to it and it can grow and shift and change as the business grows and shifts and change.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's rooted in the ideas of the founders, but it is living and it is looked at many, many times a year and iterated on. It's a very helpful document. We also have a similar document that we use for the folks creating our parenting content. And we just try to facilitate a lot of conversation about who we are, what we believe, why we do what we do.
Yeah, communication is key with all of that stuff.
And that happens early in a new employee's onboarding.
So you've gone through all of that. You've gotten these tools in place. What do you think the impact of that has been on Highlights as an organization?
Well, I think for sure we are better at recruiting employees who are like-minded when it comes to sharing our core value, which is children are the world's most important people. And not only are we recruiting new employees better, we are re-recruiting staff we have already, just simply by reminding them about the importance of what we do and helping them to understand that we're part of it. And sometimes we have boomerang employees, folks who've left and they come back because they view us as people who are authentically believers in what we do. And they want to be a part of it again. Our marketing messages and our social media posts are more reflective today of who we are. I think they used to be leaning a little more toward being transactional and not so much communicating some of our story, our meaningful story. And I think all of this allows us to just better differentiate ourselves in the children's media landscape. And that makes us more competitive.
Yeah, there's so many angles there, from recruiting to brand positioning to marketing, and all of that rolls up to purpose, and it all stems from there. You've got this flag that you've planted, and then you use all these other tools to raise that flag and make sure everybody knows about it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. I really appreciate your time. I love hearing this story. We're big fans of Highlights. My daughter's always trying to do the crafts and the activities, and we're always trying to figure out where are we going to get all of these toilet paper tubes to make all of these things in the back of the magazine. I really appreciate your time, Chris. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.